a.m. Let's kick this off and start recording if we haven't already. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to 1 Million Cups Westminster. I am Graham Dodge from Magic, joined by my fellow organizers at 1 Million Cups. And this is our first 1 Million Cups of 2021. So Happy New Year to everybody. Today, we are joined by Brian Goldsmith of FindParts.Aero, a Hunt Valley-based airplane parts e-commerce platform, and then also by Dr. Olu of Oral Healthcare Innovations, based in Mount Airy, the cool side of Mount Airy that's in Carroll County. So we're thrilled to be joined by him as well. I will thank our sponsors, of course, Magic, our community sponsor, who I work with. We are a local nonprofit engaged in technology innovation, economic development, workforce development here in the city of Westminster and throughout the region. We'd like to thank our coffee sponsor, Furnace Hills Coffee, who is providing a 25% discount for your whole online order if you order from furnacehillscoffee.com. We will be posting that link and that code. There it is in the chat. So so thank you to Furnace Hills as well. I will now kick it over to Valerie Giovanni from Ting and one of our fellow organizers here to walk you through the pillars of 1 Million Cups and why we do what we do. Val, take it away.
Take it away. You can see the beautiful orange star of Westminster. Awesome. Okay, so our mission with 1MC is to help educate and provide resources and connections for entrepreneurs like you. So many of you are back for multiple weeks, and so you're seeing how we're going down that path. But it's really important to remember that our mission is reliant on our core pillars. And so what are they? A quick review: presentations, not pitches; connections, not networking. We live under a culture of we are for the community, by the community, and nobody owns 1MC. It's all of ours to enjoy. Nobody should be paid to do 1MC, which I'm surely not. And we are radically and intentionally inclusive. Oops, wrong button. Okay. These are our organizers, many of whom are on the call right now. We've been working long and hard and are so excited that we're still here. And Happy New Year. Happy first 2021 1MC.
Val, you skipped a slide. It jumped ahead. The slide that talks about the schedule.
Oh, we meet every week at 9 a.m. We have 2 presenters. Those presentations are from companies who are less than 5 years old and who are willing to ask for help. And so for our presenters today, you should be prepared that we will end with the question, what can we as a community do to help you? Okay? Now I got it all.
Thank you very much, Val. Excellent. And so for our first presentation today, we will kick it over to Brian Goldsmith, the CEO and founder of FindParts.Aero. Oh, and real quick before you share your screen, just to remind everybody, if you're here for the first time, if you join for 5 consecutive meetings, you get one of these handsome travel mugs, 1 Million Cups travel mugs. Many of you have already earned them. And if you are in 10 consecutive meetings, you get this fashionable 1 Million Cups t-shirt, which also has an image on the back as well of the US. Anyway, all right, so Brian, I will turn it over to you. Go ahead and share your screen. Everybody else, please mute. Put questions in the chat box if you have any questions, and we'll have a full Q&A after he's done presenting after about 6 minutes or so.
Okay, thanks for everything, the intro, Valerie, and Graham, the intro. Let me go ahead and share my screen so that I have talking points. I don't have to just stand up here muttering. All right, screen shared, and bam, bam. Okay, all right. I'm going to get started here with my contact information slide. Usually these come last, but now if anybody wants to jot down my email or phone number or take a screenshot, leave this up for 10 seconds and then we'll move on to the next slide. Okay. I always hate standing on stage and counting back from 10 seconds. It seems like it takes a while. Okay. Hi, 1 Million Cups Westminster. I'm from Owings Mills. I went to Towson University. At 22 years old, I began brokering commercial airplane parts, and I quickly decided I wanted to connect that industry efficiently. As I've done several presentations, when it's a non-aerospace crowd, I like to introduce kind of an explanation of what the commercial aircraft part industry looks like. So this is a picture of an aircraft undergoing overhaul, and about $100 billion is spent each year on the maintenance, repair, and overhaul of commercial aircraft. This overhaul you're looking at on the aircraft could run anywhere from $3 to $5 million. And there comes a time in an aircraft's life when parting out the aircraft is more valuable than operating it. So instead of fixing this aircraft here for $5 million as regular maintenance items, you could, not spend that $5 million and then sell the aircraft. And what happens is about 800 aircraft every year are decommissioned and parted out. So every year, 3 aircraft per day. Before COVID permanently grounded, thousands of additional aircraft are being removed from service, and the valuable components from the planes are removed, and they create a $40 billion aircraft spare parts aftermarket. Okay, so that's a little background on the industry we're in, commercial aircraft, military aircraft. Now, to get to the problem of our industry, it's very fragmented, and there's lots of vendors that say they have inventory when they don't have inventory. So essentially, brokers are costing airlines billions of dollars, and this is our industry problem of non-existent inventory. It's really outraged me and kind of been the fire that's led me to get to everywhere. So let me kind of walk you through FindParts.Aero briefly and let you know what it is we do here. We're a market network. We're a managed marketplace where inventory is real and buyers and sellers interact with a clear and measurable mutual value. So we are an easy to use parts and services directory. We hope to give we hope the buyers can access value on our platform. We hope buyers can access value on competing platforms using different APIs and affiliate marketing. We want sellers to access value on the platform by listing for free. And if a seller already has their existing e-commerce store, we want to provide them value and just forward traffic directly to them. So we want the buyers and sellers to both be receiving value in our ecosystem. This is a slide I just wanted to add literally for this presentation of 1 Million Cups. Any entrepreneurs in the audience want to screenshot it. I know I'm always constantly asking myself, what are the marketing channels we should use? There's so many now. So this is a snapshot of the marketing channels we use that have been very effective. Most effective is always direct marketing. So if anybody wants to screenshot our marketing channels, that slide's up there now. All right. Okay. All right, so we've had some success, but we're still going to be looking for help, and I'll get to kind of what we're looking for later. But we have, in our direct marketing, we've had, starting at 0, we've had over 500 repair stations upload 2 million repair capabilities. We've had 5,000 suppliers join our network, upload 40 million spare parts. So our database right now is the 5th or 6th largest in the world. Yes, there's not a lot of competitors in our niche space of aircraft parts marketplace platforms, but we have amassed the 6th largest database thus far. So we are making some progress, and I always like to make a kind note that our budget is, very, very scarce, under 4 figures a month compared to our competitors, 7-figure a month budgets. Last year, we raised a $50,000 safe. Last year, 40 users gave us their credit card for premium data feeds. And to kind of give you guys a snapshot in closing, so in 2015, we started building our repair locator. We were able to launch that in 2017 to the supply side, chicken or egg with marketplaces. So we onboarded suppliers. Then in 2018, we onboarded buyers, and we kind of saw what was working, what wasn't with the engagement on the platform. I know I'm coming up on 10 seconds on 6 minutes here, but so I'll try to squeeze a few things in. We definitely wanted to, we restructured a little bit to kind of make our team perfect, and we're kind of building our new platform, we have our database, we're building our platform, we've attracted the right team, so everything looks like it's going well. And I'll just close up even though I'm a couple seconds over. So I just wanted to share one thing in closing. We went through, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen just to close for a minute. We went through the Secure Erie Accelerator in Erie, Pennsylvania. I know there's at least one person here in the group that's heard of Erie, Pennsylvania, maybe at least one person that's been there. And what was really good about the experience in Erie, Pennsylvania, and I don't mean to compare Erie, Pennsylvania to Westminster. I apologize, that's not my intention. But going to a town, we got a $50,000 safe at a $3 million valuation, so we gave up 1.6% of our company. We went to a town that was not known for tech. We were cohorting with other companies that were, one of the companies in the cohort was worth $200 million. And just to be in a town that's not known for tech, working with the, the county council, the city council, the, existing manufacturers in the town was a great experience, and I hope Magic does that for you guys. So I'll open up for questions, and I know there was one more thing I wanted to add, and that was just that when it is coming to look for help, because I do want help and I do want to offer help. I do enjoy talking to founders all the time, and in talking to Graham, what I learned was, that the accelerator network out there beyond Magic that kind of it has helped inspire Magic. It's out there for all of us, all the top 1%ers of entrepreneurs. So Techstars, YC, 500 startups, plug and play. There's just so many opportunities out there for all of us as long as we're grinding. And by the way, the next presentation is going to be awesome. I saw it kind of in the pre-seed so that's actually going to be cool. All right, I'll stop, open up for questions, or somebody's going to moderate. Okay.
Thank you very much, Brian. Very, very good. The chat was lighting up with questions, so we'll just jump right in. The first question, I believe this comes from Russ, who's one of our organizers. He says, I noticed your About Us slide stated your software architect was involved in blockchain and cryptography. Is that related to your business in some way, or just his background?
That's just our blockchain advisor. It's not our software architect.
So presumably, is there a blockchain component then if you have an advisor?
I mean, I think everything's going to, healthcare, aerospace, everything's going to need a blockchain because human beings lie. So you're going to need something that says this hash code was not, this, so yeah, I mean, at some point that is going to come into the supply chain.
Fair enough. All right, Tamar Osterman from Maryland Economic Development, who is already earned her mug and is well on her way to a t-shirt, asks, are you only in the commercial space or are you engaged with GA? I'm sorry, Tamar, what is GA?
General aviation. My son's an aircraft mechanic, so this is a really personally interesting presentation. Thank you very much, Brian.
Happy to connect, for sure. Add me on LinkedIn. So general aviation, business aviation, commercial, military make up all the quadrants, and there's also cargo, air travel. Typically, the part on a commercial aircraft is going to cost the same as the aircraft in commercial aviation. So like you can go out and buy a Piper Cessna for $150,000, and that's what the price of the parts on the Boeing and Airbus and Bombardier and Embraer are costing. So we are involved in all the sectors, but the GDP, so to say, is predominantly the larger aircrafts.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely appreciate that's where the value is. I mean, I can tell you that there's a lot of downtime in GA, and as the industry is undergoing a lot of shifts, you know, you wonder how you can make it more efficient. So thank you.
Wow, that was great. Great questions there. Thank you, Tamar. And Val from Ting asks, do you offer any incentives for referrals?
So we've been told that a B2B referral, you know, in building our viral loops and our network effects, we do need to you know, to incentivize B2B referrals. I don't actually have any, you know, refer a friend and get $10 or anything like that set up at the time. So we don't have that incentive in place, but I'm definitely open to understanding what incentive is going to help people refer and build their network and help grow our network.
Thank you. And Russ again asks, you stated that sellers can post their items for free. Does that mean you're making money off of a commission for sales or something else?
So I kept that slide out, everybody, but we are a free marketplace. We do not charge transaction fees. We create an ecosystem value, and we don't tax the core interaction. You might know a couple other platforms that don't tax their core interaction. You know, Twitter doesn't charge to tweet. YouTube doesn't charge to make a video. Facebook doesn't charge to talk. So we find by not charging the core interaction, we can maximize our potential unicorn status by making money through the external value that is created.
And for those of you who don't know the term unicorn in reference to startups, that is presumably $1 billion company is what we mean when we refer to unicorns in this space. So Kim Samuelson from Magic asks, are you looking to increase your premium data service, and what are your incentives to promote this service as a revenue stream?
You know, in 2021, you know, our focus right now has to just be product. You know, everybody asks what I need help with, and at some point I have to take responsibility for our lack of product. And I think as we develop our product and as we launch to customers, we'll better find that product market fit. Yeah, I think, and I think really we just need to, so at the time, currently we've spent a lot of our resources building what we believe is the lowest hanging fruit to make money, which is a self-service ad portal. We find that, you know, people don't want to necessarily pick up the phone and call you and say, hey, hi, Magic, we want to advertise, you know, so we want to make it very easy and allow suppliers that are using the portal for free to kind of use it for, you know, everybody, I feel like in the group is just knows that self-service ad, you know, marketing is like the future right now. I mean, everybody sees it on, you know, all of their, you know, wherever you stream, wherever you look at content, you're seeing ads. So that's how we're going to monetize in the early and then kind of figure out the product market fit from there.
And I think that question comes from, you mentioned in the presentation that you had 40 customers signed up for the premium data services. Is that right?
Yeah, we had customers paying monthly fees, but we stopped doing that altogether. In the earlier MVP, we were charging, and now we're not. If we are able to, you know, create good data moving forward, we'll reopen that. But right now, you know, when we charge that $100 a month, you know, we're losing. We will, you know, 40 paying customers was not a scalable business model for us. We'd rather have all 35,000 users. We'd rather have tens of thousands of active users than, you know, a couple paying users.
So that's not one of your key performance indicators then?
No, but well, we have a lot of KPIs and we're working on sorting them out now. And anybody in the group that wants to look through my KPI Google Sheet, I'm happy to share it. Our advisors are reviewing that now.
Excellent. All right. Rick from Startup Portal asks, are your customers worldwide? I know there are countries running on older planes. Do you broker entire engines? So 2 questions there.
Yes, and yes. We don't actually broker any parts, but engines are a huge commodity because, you know, when there's a fresh, you know, overhaul, when there's an engine with remaining cycles, you know, somebody wants to sell it. It has all its paperwork. Graham, what was the second part of the question?
Do you broker entire engines?
What was the first part?
Oh, sorry. The first part was, are your customers worldwide?
Yeah. So again, and I just wanted to reiterate or touch on that. So worldwide, yes, but we have to always make sure that Iran, North Korea, Libya, Sudan, and Syria are not getting into the picture anywhere, especially when you're dealing with China and Russia. We haven't found markets for the Russian aircraft. Yeah, so we are global. Just we kind of keep out those embargoed countries from, obviously.
And Tina from Infinite Love Project, she just wants to make sure we're understanding the revenue model. And maybe you can just more succinctly tell us, is it just the commission on the sales then rather than listing fees, or is it the advertising?
Yeah, so great question. So the way we make money, so in doing this for a long time, a lot of people have come up to me and they've said, how do you make money? How do you make money? Charge a transaction fee, charge this fee. And people in the industry have actually gotten upset with us for not charging a fee, because some of them are very old school and they're just like, what do you mean you don't charge money? Like, how do you make money? How do you make money? I've always found the coolest companies that are worth, that have great CEOs that make a lot of money. You don't really know what they do or how they make money, but we want to be transparent. So the ad revenues are how we're going to make money. And then down the road, when we can provide value on the platform, we want to capture some of that value. So if we can broker engine overhauls that are $300,000, yes, we want to capture a marketplace fee. If we can find a pro membership that adds $10 or $50 a month in recurring revenue, we want to add that. But right now, we're not at a point where we have value enough to do such.
Well, it may be that your customers who have that question and concern are basically identifying that if they're not paying for the product, that they somehow are the product, and they don't want that.
That I'm glad you worded it that way. I think I see that going around with Facebook. Like, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. So,
All right,
absolutely.
And we have another question here from Mark Weingram, who is another, on his way to he just earned a mug today and going to earn a t-shirt next 5 meetings. When you facilitate a transaction for a large part, certainly a part of verified existence, as you mentioned, how or do you take steps to verify the part's condition and validate successful fulfillment?
Okay, so one thing we're not, as a market network, we're really teetering on how much we want to get involved in that transaction, because right now we're a market network, not brokering. We have no risk. So we don't necessarily want to take ownership of the part, take control of the part. Now there is a certificate that comes with that part that is from the FAA or the European Aviation Association or the Chinese Aviation Association or Transport Canada that says this part, that is delivered with the part, that says this part is airworthy, this part can be affixed to an aircraft, and it's certified by one of the global FAA or civil aviation authorities. So down the road, we obviously want to capture that paperwork, capture it on a blockchain, but right now that the seller and buyer are talking directly. But that piece of paper mandated by a civil aviation authority is what validates that that part is kosher.
Mark, to answer your question, you can unmute.
Yeah, no, it did. Thanks. Yeah, I guess I had sort of shades of like eBay's, luxury watch validation program, right? Mm-hmm. Where, you're very confident in the transaction. And no, I definitely get why that gets dicey, because again, I'm thinking of these really large critical parts and potential for concern with their condition or their safe arrival and stuff like that. So thank you, Brian.
Mark, just to add, eBay had a program called eBay B2B where they had an airplane parts marketplace, and they closed it down because they didn't have the expertise to figure it out like they do with watches and automobiles and jet skis. Cool.
Thanks for sharing.
That's actually I think that's something that you should probably mention in your presentation, that, big companies like that, because that also signals some interest for possible M&A down the road. If you can establish yourself as the expert in a marketplace that other big companies like that are interested in. Carl Laidler from Dynamic Dimension Technologies asks, sorry, I just lost it. Have you considered an application for government or DoD? Carl, what kind of application are you talking about there? You might need to unmute.
Oh, I can answer that
Okay,
actually.
all right, never mind. If you understand that, Brian, go ahead.
Because Carl, I added you on LinkedIn when you came on the pre-meeting and started talking about your. So we've actually just recently applied for the CIBR grant through AFWorks, and should be finding out early this month if we win our first government contract with the Air Force, and that hopefully will open a lot of doors and allow us to develop our product, for sure. So it's definitely something that we are, we believe we filled everything out correctly, and I think the Air Force or any division of the armed services, from what I've seen, it's a great place to grow your startup because, who wouldn't want one customer versus like 10,000 customers to work with? So that's from my perspective.
And we have at least one more question here from Tina at Infinite Love Project. How is your marketplace addressing the industry problem of non-existent inventory if you don't verify who is selling what on your platform?
Okay, I didn't see who wrote that question, but the new trend that is being used to verify inventory is, instead of a customer uploading an Excel sheet, is the vendor syncing their ERP system directly to a marketplace. So now they can't upload fake parts. Whatever is in their inventory ERP is listed on the parts marketplace. So we do have several. So yes, technically a seller could maybe join our platform, list inventory that, like Mark said, it hasn't been properly vetted. But we will display inventory based on the inventory that has been properly vetted, the inventory that has been verified over and above, other listings. And we are going to be verifying the sellers either through identity verification or social media verification, SMS verification, and if we do have the ERP link to their portal as well. So we're going to try to provide as many ways to connect to the vendors and provide that transparent, trustworthy marketplace. And, like you said, like the question brought up, we have to find a way to keep these bad players out. It's really, having just a few bad players in an ecosystem ruins the entire ecosystem. So we are really going to make sure that all of the sellers and all of the product is as vetted as possible, because we just don't want any riffraff on there, because anybody that comes on and has a bad experience is just going to be the opposite of incremental exponential network effects, which is not what we're looking for.
And at the top of the presentation, you mentioned, I think it was sort of the journey of, how these parts get sold. You mentioned MRO at the top of it. Can you explain to everybody what MRO stands for, and how, I think that in your other previous experience, you had a business called MRO, or you currently also have a side business called MRO Finder, right?
Right. So our first brand, instead of FindParts, was called MRO Finder. An MRO is a repair station. I'll say that again. An MRO is a repair station. So it's an acronym. It stands for maintenance, repair, and overhaul. But in our industry, the repair shop is the MRO. And again, the MRO, as I said earlier, is a $100 billion industry. But basically, these are all the certified repair shops that have to, and there's only a limited number in the world. And to answer your question, Graham, and give the background, since there's a limited number of MROs, repair stations in the world, they're all certified by these air agency governing bodies, which keep our skies safe: FAA, European Aviation. And that's why we started with the MRO Finder, because it was something doable to make a database of all those government registered entities. But I was walking around as the CEO of MRO Finder, and most people just called it what was catching on was I was being called Mr. O Finder for the people that didn't know the MRO acronym. So I had the shirt, and people would just say Mr. O Finder, and it wasn't catching on. So I had to change the name.
That's an opportunity. We should definitely do like a chat about branding and how that affects, you know, your business decisions later on too. That's great insight. Well, thank you very much, Brian. Excellent presentation and question and answer session. Lots and lots of intellectually stimulating questions there and responses. So thank you. Up next, we have Dr. Olu from Oral Healthcare Innovations. And Dr. Olu, before you share your screen, I just want to remind everybody that who our sponsors are. Magic, our community sponsor, nonprofit here in the city of Westminster, engaged in economic development and workforce development, and Furnace Hills Coffee. We have a special discount for anyone who buys coffee from furnacehills.com. It's in the chat. You might have to repost it, Julius, for anyone who joined later. You get 25% off your entire order. And I mentioned earlier as well that if you come to 5 or more of these meetings consecutively, you get not only the travel mug, but now you can earn a t-shirt. And if you're a presenter, so Brian and Dr. Olu yourselves, you will be getting the ceramic mug. So I encourage any of you who is an entrepreneur who has not yet presented at 1 Million Cups to do so, because you want to get this mug. All right. So Dr. Olu, go ahead, unmute, share your screen. Everybody else mute and save your questions for after he presents, after his 6 minutes, and we'll put those questions in the chat. Thank you.
All right. Morning, guys. My name is Olu. I'm a dentist in the area. So I want to talk about the concept of detection and correction of teeth grinding. As you can tell, the medical term for teeth grinding, and this is just a visual to kind of like put it in the drive home the message of what teeth grinding is all about. The medical term for teeth grinding is bruxism, and this slide shows that. In my many years as a dentist, I encounter patients suffering from bruxism on a regular basis. And to me, bruxism is an under-recognized disease. As patients, we always present and they don't know that, you know, we tell them, we see signs, or they come with pain, and then we tell them that, oh, you're probably grinding, and they're like, oh, you know, oh, I didn't know that. And the bad thing with bruxism is that it happens when the patient is not aware of it, and it happens at night. More than 25% of the population suffer from bruxism, and it affects people of all ages. In fact, the New York Times dated September 11, 2020, reported and discussed a sharp upsurge in the number of people presenting with bruxism. Since bruxism is a pernicious issue, many devices have come to the market in trying to address the symptom of, trying to address bruxism, and the most widely used is night guard. Recently, people have been getting familiar and getting Botox injection. A neuromuscular is a toxin that pretty much does muscle relaxant, and we put it in the muscle of the face that close the jaw, and that is about, and they get relief for about 4 to 6 months, depending on the patient. Now, with the understanding of the limitation of many of these bruxism devices, when I say we, there's a partner of my, well, I won't say, Graham will help me in introducing, saying more about Skip, because he knows more about Skip than myself. You know, I sat down with him, and we were able to come down with what we call bone conduction to try to solve the issue of bruxism. And then I'll say, what is bone conduction? Bone conduction is the reception of sound through our skull into our ear. So like if you guys cover your ears, both ears with both hands, and then you say a word or two, you will still be able to hear that word. And that is because the sound travels through the skull, the bones of the skull, into your ears, and then you can still hear it. A good example of this would be Beethoven. He was at some point deaf in his ears and was still able to hear his music. So he will connect his piano with a rod to his teeth, and play his music, and he was able to hear his music, and that's what he was able to do to carry on his the composure of his music, and he's still one of the greatest we have around. Now, the device we propose will use bone conduction, as you can tell from this, how will I put it, this graphic here. So it will be placed behind the user's ear, and the device will be able to filter through the daily sound like snoring, talking, coughing, even chewing. They all have different sound signatures, and we believe that this device will be able to pick up those associated with grinding and clenching noises, and will alert the user of that behavior. The alert tells the user to stop the bruxism behavior, and with enough use, we believe that the patient is able to change or train themselves out of the habit of bruxism. We should remember that the key to effectively managing bruxism is the ability to detect and down the line modified such behavior. That is a true way to manage bruxism. And we believe that with this device, it will be a good way to keep track of the occurrence and then provide appropriate feedback for the patient, and then the patient can modify their behavior. All right, so where are we in this technology? Well, we believe that our idea is novel enough. We filed for a provisional patent, and we made a regulatory, we're working with Medicare, try to develop a regulatory strategy compared to what is on the market, and Medicare is working on that. 2 weeks ago, we're trying to get grants. So 2 weeks ago, we submitted an NIH Small Business Innovation Research grant to the NIH, trying to get funding for this device. And then we hope that down the line, we're able to, kickstart this and move this technology out and into the consumers, for the consumers' use. Thank you. And again, Skip, I don't know if he's online, but yeah, he's been helping through the technical aspect of this concept. Thank you.
Excellent, Dr. Olu. Thank you very much. Great presentation. If you can exit your screen sharing, then we'll go back to the group here. So Skip, I know Skip he mentioned from Johns Hopkins Technology Ventures. He's one of the mentors and residents there, along with myself. And earlier in our call, Dr. Olu explained how he met Skip as a patient of his. And I was saying, what a great coincidence, a stroke of fate for Dr. Olu, because Skip is a world-renowned inventor in healthcare technologies. So to have him even as a mentor, if not a partner, is a great asset for Dr. Olu moving forward. And also, just to reiterate again, Dr. Olu is based in Mount Airy on the Carroll County side, for those of you who didn't hear that earlier. So let's go to the chat here. We have a question here from Tamar Osterman at Maryland Economic Development. She asks, once you have a prototype, how will you study its efficacy?
So we've already designed a study, a recruit patient into the study. That's one of the things we have to clarify with the NIH grant. We have to design a study, get IRB approval, and we've already designed that to recruit, depending on how many prototypes we're able to produce, maybe like 25 to 50, recruit patient and go forward from there. Since I have a practice here, it will be a lot easier to recruit patient, and I already have patients on ground. My wife, if she doesn't go to bed with a night guard, she's definitely coming down with 2 broken teeth.
And Mark Weingram asks, will this require any regulatory approvals, and will it need to be prescribed thereafter?
It will, based on the regulatory strategy so far that we've gotten from our FDA consultant, Medicare. Recommendation is that it's going to be a prescription-based device. And what was the second question?
Will it need to be prescribed?
Yes, it will. For now, we're thinking that it will be a prescription-based, yes, so that we can monitor it and go forward from there. Yeah.
Thank you. Steve Lowe from 127 Creative says, I can see how you could detect various behaviors with the device, but how do you train the patient to change the behaviors?
So the device will come with a vibration mechanism and a ding mechanism, and also it will come with an app associated with it. Depending on the user's preference, so far this is what we've decided on. Depending on the user's preference, the user can decide which notification he or she prefers. So if you put it on, there's a bony prominence right behind your ear. The size of the device is going to be like a dime, very small, hidden, and it will be behind your ear on the bony prominence, where it collects the sound wave. So depending on your preference, it will either ring into your ear or give you a little vibration. You can set the level of the vibration, or from the app, it can give you a full notification. That will be, for now, that will be based on the user's preference. So that is our, so once you get this, because bruxism itself is an unconscious habit, so you want to catch it while you're doing it. So consistent notification hopefully will help the patient change the behavior.
And Tamar asks a follow-up question, will users be awakened by the device? Given sleep disruption, how would this device be more attractive than a guard?
So the difference between this and a guard is that a guard doesn't even prevent you from not grinding. The only thing a night guard does is prevent you from breaking your teeth. Now, this device, you will be able to have, you will have the liberty of setting it to just take data, and you can use this data. You can put the device on without it either beeping or dinging or giving you any notification, but it takes real-time data that is stored, and you may be able to, the user will be able to, and the user can share the data with his physician, and they can see whether the patient is grinding, and the patient can correlate the level and the amount of grinding with his or her daily activities. Maybe today it was a bad day at work, and then from my data that I collected, I saw that I noticed that I spiked a little bit today, or depending, it can relate with the data based on his or her daily activities, and then can modify the behavior, stress, anything causing that.
My wife, she grinds her teeth and will probably be watching the video of this. Her correlation will be that she's married to me. An entrepreneur.
So yeah.
All right. Any other questions from the group here? So you mentioned too that, this could be used to correlate with other, with the help of a physician, another diagnosis. Then are you going to look into ways to incorporate some sort of machine learning algorithm to help smooth out the data? I imagine making sense of all those data will be a challenge, especially as it relates to what I assume is like an audio file that is created from the bone conduction.
So if we will pretty much put the data in a user-friendly version. So if I can share my screen again,
yes,
this
please,
is, yeah, please let me do that, yeah. This is what you get on a regular basis when you talk, like from a layman's point of view, we call them spikes. This is what you get when you chew, grind. These are just the different graphics from talking, chewing. When you chew pasta, the spike, what's it called you get is different from when you chew rice. And this data will be able to differentiate, we got this data from, what's it called? Just a regular mic strapped into the back of your head, and, and we're able to get something like this. We believe that with the design that has all the amplifiers and everything, you even get a better graphics with this. And that's why the testing is good. So this will be very useful to the user, because the user can come down and see the spikes, and that spike will correlate with how much of what the patient did at night and what the patient, whether the patient was talking in his sleep. It will be able to see the graphics. And for sure, we're going to have, how will I put it? For the patient to know, we're going to put prototypes of what it is, what it means, once the patient sees this graphics, and the patient can easily read it. And then, of course, there will be other things that can be read even if the patient can't use it, maybe the patient takes it to the physician or to his or her dentist, and they will be able to make a better use of the data.
Well, if the patient snores, will that get picked up?
Yes, it will get picked up, and yes, and also we're planning ahead that the patient will be able to pick and choose the sounds that the patient wants to, in addition to the grinding, the patient wants snoring, singing. The patient will be able to pick and choose what is recorded or what is, what is in the data for the patient.
So would you then likewise be able to sense sleep apnea or detect sleep apnea?
I don't want to get ahead of myself with this. Skip and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves with this device, because we believe that this device has a lot of capability in terms of even using it for trauma during sports. So we really want to take it one step at a time. One of the things that when we filed the provisional pattern in there is that we mentioned all those things that, it's possible that the limit to this device is it's limitless in terms of what it can do. And we listed a lot of things in there. It can sense trauma, because most things you do gives vibration to the bone. And the issue of bone vibration, bone conductance has been around for a long while. You have earphones that are strapped to your skull, what's it called? Bone conducting earphone. But now we're reversing that technology. The earphone is from outside to inside. What about from inside to outside? And we can have dual, technology in it that it can. So we want to start out first as letting this be for grinding. And I tell you, this device can take body temperature, but we don't want to get there yet. We're taking it one step at a time.
And then I just have a question about your company structure. You've got Oral Healthcare Innovations as your company name. Yeah. Will this be a product of that company, or will it be its own subsidiary under a parent company called Oral Healthcare Innovations?
It will be a product of the company. Yeah. Simple as that. Yeah.
And did I miss that? Are you calling this product by a name yet?
No. We're still, it's mouthful. It's a acoustic bone conductance device. So it's still a mouthful. We can come up with a name much later, but yeah.
ABCD?
ABCD, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's actually pretty cool. ABCD.
ABCD,
but,
yeah.
All right. Well, if anyone else, if there's no other question, oh wait, hold on. What's another one here? Yes, Mark Weingram asks a follow-up question. Are there measurement limitations, or are there vulnerabilities to noise in the measurement? Okay, we talked about this a little bit already. If there is movement in the bed, a partner rolling over, a pet climbing on you, etc., would that also register? So like more subtle noises like that.
Yeah, like we said, the device will be able to pick up many and all sounds, but will filter out what the user decides to choose. So it will have all of this there because it will be programmed into the device. And now I'm going to bed. I want to pick up the sound of grinding, clenching, if my kid is, so that, but you will be, as we build and test the device and we bring out prototypes and develop the ability of the device, the patient, the user will be able to say, these are the sounds that I want to gather. I mean, there will be limitations and all that, but these are the sounds, and it will be our responsibility to try to put in the device all the different sound wave and tell the device, I'm being a layman now, and tell the device, these are the sounds associated with clenching, talking, sleep apnea, chewing, and then the device will be able to do exactly what you tell it to do. Yeah.
And Carrie Pierce from Flip Yours Fitness and Change Space, who will be presenting next week, says, grind away. At first, I thought, Carrie, that was your motivational advice as an entrepreneur. That's a suggestion for a brand name. Not bad. I like that. Grind away.
Thank you.
Then, Val, thank you for reminding me, and I apologize to Brian for not asking this at the end of his presentation, but as part of what we do at 1 Million Cups is we always like to ask at the end, what can our community do for you? So Dr. Olu, I'll turn that over to you, and then I'll actually go back to Brian real quick if we have time and ask him the same question. So Dr. Ola, what can we as a community here do for you?
That's a good question. It's tougher than you think. We're trying to build a prototype and hopefully get to the commercialization. That is the end result of every product. But right now we need all the resources we can get to try to, get the prototype, testing, and hopefully down the line sometime soon get the product to the market.
Well, do you need more patience in the meantime to afford all this?
What did you say?
Do you need more patience?
Yeah, for sure. Yes, for sure.
And what is the name of your practice so everyone knows?
Mount Airy Dental Center.
Mount Airy Dental Center. Okay, great. Well, I'm sure many of us will be looking you up now. I just moved here, so I'm looking for a dentist. So
sounds good.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Olu. And Brian Goldsmith from FindParts.Aero. I apologize. I did not ask you what our community can do for you, but what can we do for you?
Yeah, so I tried to kind of, I mentioned that in our pre-talk and tried to add that into the closing that, it's not just your community, right? There's lots of resources for entrepreneurs like Olu, Dr. Olu, as we saw, submitted to the National Institute of Health, a SIBRA grant. As I brought up, as Carl asked about the DoD, we're filling out our stuff to get to the DoD. I'm just happy to meet everybody here. I was on the West Coast for a while, and I'm just coming back now home. And honestly, with COVID and all, it's been a very solitary entrepreneurial grind. So I really put my contact information up early on the slide. Just happy to connect with other people, give and take when it comes to founders. And my favorite thing is to, have founder office hours and talk to their founders. So please connect with me and go.
Yeah, so networking. So so Brian's looking for some more networking in the community. So if you've got a LinkedIn profile and you want to share that in the chat there, feel free to go ahead and copy paste that in the chat. And we'll send that all off, a copy of the full chat to both Brian and Dr. Olu if they don't get a chance to click through some of the links in the time that we have left. So in the time that we have left, I will kick it back to Val from Ting, and she will send us off and let us know about next week.
Well, and Graham, I will also say he's looking for connections, not networking. Oh, goodness. Okay. So again, thank you to our sponsors. We have Magic, of course, and we have Furnace Hills Coffee. And I love watching Graham giggle on mute. It's really fun. Next week, we have two presenters who are here with us right now, which is super exciting. Did Carl leave us? No, there's Carl. So we have Carrie Pierce, who will present Change Space. And we have Carl Lodler, who will present Dynamic Dimensions Technologies, both right here in Westminster, which is super duper exciting too. So everybody have a great week, and we will see everyone next Wednesday.
Thank you, everybody, and Happy New Year again. And feel free to if you're still pasting your link, go ahead and do that if you haven't done that yet, and then we'll send that out to everybody. Bye, Tina. All right, I think that's everybody. Thanks, everybody. Bye.